Dapper Don Podcast. Dapper Don Podcast. It is your boy Dapper Don Dez.
Tuned in to the Dapper Don Podcast. It is your boy Dapper Don Dez, the only podcast breaking down Southern hip hop in a way that you like it. Today we're going to discuss and deep dive into dirty. We're going to discuss the infamous production companies of the South. I don't mean to say infamous in a sense that they're bad people. Just that they have always had a reputation of issues with that necessary part of the game, and we're gonna get into that. The discussions of the production companies that do run the South, as you know. That's including Suave House, Swisher House, the whole nine. Then we're going to get into another section called Homie Homage. In Homie Homage, we're going to talk about a young producer by the name of Young Chop. Young Chop helped form what is now known as the drill movement. The drill movement is a Chicago gangster rap subgenre of hip-hop that literally is exactly what it sounds like. But the sound and the aesthetic of it is what is the current and was the current and was the recent hip-hop genre of the 2010s. Then we're going to get into what I call Pictures Worth 1,000 Words, where I break down an album cover that is influential from Southern hip-hop. And of course, this time it's going to be none other than Lil Weezy, Lil Wayne. We're going to break down a Carter 3 and the importance of how babies inside baby pictures in hip-hop covers is the best thing ever. So let's get into the first segment, Deep Dive into Dirty. In Deep Dive into Dirty today, we discuss production companies. Production companies, to give you an idea of what a production company is, first and foremost, we're going to use as entertainment attorney Steve Gordon's article he wrote about what a production company is. Ultimately, what a production company should be or is somebody that has the ability to produce music for you, meaning they make what is labeled as a demo, but it's a fully produced record, fully done, and they supposed to shop it around the different labels. So pretty much they're the middleman between being undiscovered and getting discovered. Now, you would think that in the era of the internet and home studios that would have been a dead thing, but it seems to be the predominant thing now. And that's for a good reason and for certain reasons. But what Steve Gordon does warn about is these production companies that are getting more than a slice of the pie. He's saying ideally, don't be confused about a label deal versus a production deal. See, a production deal should ultimately not span no more than 15 months, he says. And in 15 months, there should be, in 15 months, if they don't get you where you supposed to be or do what they supposed to deliver, well, 6 to 9 months, he said. Management deals are 15 months. But, from 6 to 9 months, they should be able to get you a record deal, somewhere that you can go and have your music brought up by a major label. What is a major label versus a production label? A production company? I can break that down for you. So according to Steve Gordon says that the production company, this is what he says now, the production company only makes the music and pretty much shops it. At best, they're an A&R. At best, really. There's one or two people. It's not really a whole thing. A major label has money to market and produce, get you placements in movies, television, has a staff, has A&Rs, has capital, has the ability to give you an advance check. Unfortunately, you should be careful about signing label deals with a production company because now the major label may have to go through them to sign you. I'm sorry. That might be what Meg's going through. But nonetheless, at the same time, we always like to talk about the Southern Sound. The Southern Sound that has now made what we all now know and love as the subgenre of trap, of Dirty South. But these things are also created by people in these production companies. If you look at Suave House, I don't know if you know who Suave House is, one of the lesser known ones, but their most famous acts that actually came out through the label would be 8 Ball and MJG, who went gold and are coming out hard on their debut album and even dropped another platinum project. Plus, MJG, I think, dropped a gold project through Suave House. Well, Suave House was found by Tony Draper. Tony Draper also found Rick Ross and Gilly the Kid. If you're a fan of $1 Million Worth of Game, you know who Gilly the Kid is. He's a Philadelphia legend. But, Tony Draper is a successful actor, successful executive. And this creates the sound. And these people create the sound. Another one would be Swisher House, right? Screwed Up Click. That's DJ Screw. That literally created the chopped and screwed sound. And these people also have, maybe now when Steve Gordon was talking about these production companies only being able to do so much, really just kind of recording your stuff and shopping it around, that's his change. That definitely seems like to become a change because of the fact that these acts are now going platinum under these people. Swisher House and Screwed Up Click already had touring for the artists. They already had album sales for the artists. They break down the artists in a certain way. So Def breaks down the artists in a certain way. So I can see how a hip hop artist may look at a production company as more of a record label, because honestly, you could sign to Atlantic Records and just be stuck in the middle of the ocean. But you could sign to QC and have a better chance of blowing up. You could sign to Block Entertainment at one time, had a better chance of blowing up. These record labels and everything that comes with this whole game, it's a little different when you looking at it from the perspective of, I'm trying to get on. I'm trying to get my records to go up and get my records to go platinum and go on my tours. This is the things that make it all worth it. And also, I want to have clout. I want to have things that makes it more interesting. So, if we're looking at the whole, at this thing as a whole, I wanted to also break down the rise and the fall of these things. See, because unfortunately, when you look at certain ones like Block Entertainment didn't quite really make the same adjustments that they should have made. Young Jock in 2009 ended up having to sue the company. He even told I believe XXL that he wasn't even signed to Block Entertainment. So chances is that sounds like a production deal. He just thought they was going to make his going down. They was going to do a couple of favors and that would be it. He thought he could just walk away with his record label and just do business with Puff. He wanted Puff to intervene. Puff told him that's between you and the label. That's a lot like what we're seeing with Meg. What we're seeing with Meg is similar. A lot of it is similar. Perfect example. You look at Jody Breeze. Jody Breeze is the equivalent of what a Little Baby is, right? At the time, Jody Breeze, he had a certain sound, a certain way his voice sounded over records. And people was looking for that kind of sound, that like grimy down south sound. And one of the biggest issues why I think the failure for Block Entertainment versus for QC is the fact that Block Entertainment, not only did they not apparently do business as well and didn't cultivate a loyal culture, a culture of loyalty, a culture of trust between them and the artist, because every artist left and none of them really had a lot of good things to say. But the thing about Block Entertainment that's interesting is a lot of the acts that they have that were successful under Block Entertainment came from Suave House, from Tony Draper. You look at it, him working with Ross, that was Tony Draper. Him working with Big Gee and Big Duke from Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood was the biggest acts under Block Entertainment, which introduced us to Jeezy and Ross. But why did a label that introduced us to classic acts not stick around no more than 5 years? Why did they fall off so quick? What could have possibly have been the reason for them to have seen such a decline in what was a successful thing? The only thing I could possibly imagine was the fact they wasn't doing good business. There's several things that makes business well. Not only is it loyalty within the artist. You look at the Migos, because when I say not successful, I got to compare them to what I feel like is the most successful right now, and that's QC. Not just right now, but in totality. QC is coming up on 8-9 years right now with the same artist. That's a tough thing to do. Not only with the same artist, but creating new artists between them. Creating the City Girls, getting our Lil Yachty, making the Lil Baby. Block Entertainment had the same thing. So I think not only is the lawsuits going through, Jody Breezy even talked about not really having an issue with Block Entertainment, but really feeling more as if he was being, I guess the business wasn't right. I don't know what the business might have been, but it should have been a little better. I don't think that we would have necessarily have came to this point if he would have had done business in a sense that was beneficial to everybody around him. It looks like when you look at QC, everybody's eating at QC. That's what it seems like. Looks can be deceiving. But, these are things that I would take into consideration. It seems as if, not just at QC, there's plenty of other production companies. ASAP, I believe, is a production company. And another thing that makes Block also crazy, he didn't seem to really have signed these artists under solo deals. He didn't seem to sign them under any solo deals. Young Jock seemed to be the only person who he had that was a solo act. Jody Breezy came in with Jazzy Faye. Well, Jazzy Faye had something to do with Swisher House too. I forget. Yeah, Jazzy Faye had something to do with Swisher House. Matter of fact, Jazzy Faye being from Memphis, it wouldn't surprise me because, mind you, that biggest act came from Memphis. That's 8-Ball MJG. I'm sure there's a link right there. But he came out, he went to Jazzy to show enough on Big Gee had something, Duke had something. Of course, we know Jeezy. We know Jeezy had a whole thing, right? He had a whole movement he went to. Why didn't they produce it even in Gorilla Zoe? I think Gorilla Zoe did pretty well. All things considered, he did pretty well. He was a decent rapper. Why did we not see what we thought should have happened with Block? Because QC does sign every artist to a solo deal. When you looked at the Migos dropped all their projects, they dropped through QC. QC made the effort. And mind you that QC not only had capital, right? Because P had capital. P could record. P could make money, but P could also spend money. He had disposable income, so it seems. And Coach K had a business mind. Now, Block Entertainment had a co-partner. He also had a co-partner, but his co-partner, Gotti, we don't know anything about him. I couldn't find nothing on this guy. I don't know who he is. I'm sure he may be smart. He might be a good businessman. He might be in the streets. That might have been what his role was. But the thing that's most important was, if you look at the name of QC, that's quality control. And when P was talking about why his name QC, he had a friend whose first name began with a Q, and he knew he wanted to honor that friend. So that in honor of that friend, he said it had to be a Q. And Coach K said, okay, well, we got quality. C, quality control, but it all came together about family and friendship. Block Entertainment was about Block. Block was talking on every record. I'm not mad at that. It's just the fact that I think about that when I'm looking at why these production companies. But these production companies, all in all, these production companies are the key to what does make the Southern sound, what does make an artist successful. And this is not just in the South. You can look at Desert Storm and what it did with Fabulous. There's been plenty of labels and record labels that's even turned from production companies. Def Jam is one. Def Jam, Rick Rubin was a producer. Russell Simmons was a manager. And now you look at what the two have together and what they've formed as one, and it was something that expanded and created. It is a major now. What was a production company went from being a reputable record label to a major. Def Jam is or was a major, so there's always hope for a production company. I think QC is on their way to being that. I think there's some humble brothers over there that really want to work. And Block, he ain't just sitting around doing nothing. He's promoting Ross's Bel Air. He's behind that. He's still working. He's still putting out artists. He's still putting out tapes. He hasn't stopped whatsoever, but you got to remember to pay your guys, man. You can create the sound, but you got to stay down. And that's my deep dive in the dirty. And that takes me into my next segment, Homie Homage. This segment of Homie Homage, Homie Homage is a segment that breaks down the homage that we give to artists that was influential in the superstars and the making of the superstars that we know. And when I say homie homage, I don't mean somebody you met in the industry. I mean, when you see a guy that was just the best friend of an artist, went to high school with an artist, and they get that opportunity to be on the major label debut, and they show up, or the producer, or whoever, but members of their entourage who show extreme talent, but get overlooked just because your talent isn't looked at as an individual, and it's just like, oh, well, you're his homie. I believe that it's important that we give those people their props. It's important that we look into, these posse cuts. It's so easy just to put whoever on a posse cut, but to really get that opportunity to a friend who has talent, and that talent should be celebrated. So that's what homie homage is. Respecting those within the crew and within our artist crew that makes them a big deal. And I think the biggest superstar that was the most influential, I think the most polarizing within the last few years is obviously Chief Keef. If I had to make an analogy within Chief Keef's success, I would have to say his friend Chop. His friend Chop is a huge reason for his success. He created the beats. Now, mind you, anyone could have created beats. And you can buy beats online for next to nothing. But the reason Young Chop was so interesting that he created a sound. He created a sound that would become the sound of the industry. And unlike any other sound, because now you could get this to any producer. You could get that to any producer. You got Metro Boomin, you got Mustard. You can take it all the way back to the Business, Lex Luger, anybody you can look at and say they've created a sound, and everybody in the industry for a few years used it. The difference between all of them, he created a subgenre. Young Chop created something that I believe we all could look at and say everybody's taking a piece of. He was a part of something everybody took a piece from to this day. Like the way music videos are shot is a lot like I Don't Like. Chief Keef had a song. If you don't know, Chief Keef had a song. Maybe I should start from the beginning here. Young Chop is a Chicago producer who is friends of rappers Chief Keef and Lil Reese. And like they grew up together, they was friends, all of that good stuff. And these guys definitely just started as, let's say, for lack of better words, a garage band, man. They didn't have a big push behind them. They didn't have a lot going on, but they shot for the top, and ultimately they made a record called Chief Keef made a record called I Don't Like. This was not only did this record blow up, get the attention of Kanye West, and ended up getting Pusha T, Jadakiss, Big Sean, all the big acts on the record. Not only did he do that, but it also made for a whole subgenre called drill music, which is, like I told you, a Southern Chicago gangster rap subgenre of hip hop. Well, let me just run down a list of some of the things Young Chop created. I Don't Like, Love Sosa, Big Sean's Detroit, Lil Reese's Us, and just to name a few. Just to name a few, man. This man produced a whole subgenre. If you talking about something that knocks, if there's a video of a kid holding a gun to a camera screen, he produced the beat. Young Chop is that guy, and that's how the culture has evolved. That's what we've evolved to within the culture. Is this kind of gangster rap, and he created the soundtrack for it, the bed of music, the hard drums, the knocking kicks. He's that. And not only that, but the brother got some business sense, and he started signing other acts. Now, the only issue is, though, in Homie Homage, we usually just point out the things that's going right with an artist. Most of the time, the only thing that we like to focus on is what's positive about them. What had these people done? What have they created? But the story doesn't always have a happily ever after. As of lately, it seems like Young Chop has been going through more than his fair share of drama. Some of the drama that we've seen Chief Keef go through, that we've seen Lil Reese go through, it seems like Young Chop is now going through it, but not necessarily in legal court problems, but his issues with other artists. He seems to have called out artists from 21 Savage. He's called out Meek Mills. He's called out Wayne. He's called out a lot of artists who I think he feels as owes him something. He has a project that he feels like is going to make a big splash, I guess, because every time he drops a project, he makes a link for the pre-order. So you can pre-order it right when he goes on a rant, boom, drops the pre-order. I guess controversy sells. Everybody knows controversy sells, but that's what he's trying to sell. The issue is it does look like it's mental health issues. It does seem as if he's in a place where I don't believe he has the creativity, where now you've gotten everything, you've gotten stuff, you've gotten money. What else gets you motivated to get back up and give this thing a shot? What really gets you going? That's the kind of stuff that I really think isn't being spoken on with him. And it's a dangerous game to play. He's telling 21 Savage, we live in the same neighborhood. I'm in your city, like, bro, it's nothing. I'm here. I got 100,000 worth of jewelry on. But the fact of the matter is, why is it that you're courting somebody to try to attack you and know where you're at? Then you're live streaming from your home like rappers haven't died in home invasions this year. Like, that's not a real thing. So it's a dangerous game he's playing. He's a talented kid, man. He really has. Well, he's not a kid. He's born like 93. What does that make him? It makes him like 27, right? 26, 27. You know, you at an age where you should know better. You will know better. And it's sad to see how some of their lives are turning out. You got Lil Durk has an open case. Reese just got shot like 9 times. Chop got drama. It's just a lot going on for them, and I hope they find a resolution, because they're not even 30 yet and they going through all this drama. That's crazy. That's nuts. So, but, you know, all in all, that's what Homie Homage is all about, making sure we highlighting the people who deserve to be highlighted, the superstars behind your superstar. That's what I should lead with. I should have said that from the jump. The superstar behind your superstar. That's what Homie Homage is. So, and of course, our final segment, pictures worth 1,000 words. Because pictures are worth 1,000 words. You can choose to believe that or not. And pictures worth 1,000 words. We come in and we break down what it is that these pictures represent, right? These album covers. We look at album covers such as I did the Ghetto Boys. I've done Trina's, Bad as B. I've done a lot of projects, but today we're gonna talk on the most probably mainstream and successful Southern rap album of all times, and that's Lil Wayne's Carter 3. Carter 3 is a triple platinum rap album. Well, I don't know if it's not even the most successful Cash Money record, right? Because Juvie sold 5 million. So one of the most successful of all time, but most iconic. Let's use that word. Definitely the most iconic. And this album cover was a shocker ever. I think without saying, it was a shocker. Now, our whole career, Wayne's whole career, we watched a little kid stand on his album cover, but the minute he drops the album as a grown man, he puts a baby picture on there. How ironic, right? That might have went over your head. But when we look at Wayne and what all he's brought to the game and brought to the table, we have to really give homage to everything that he has done. From The Block is Hot, Lights Out, all the Squad Up stuff, all the dedication, the Carter 2, classic. The most classic Wayne album. I'm not here to argue with you. Don't come at me. It is the most classic Wayne album. And to what all led up, documentary 2, not documentary, dedication 2, all of this led up to what is now the most iconic record of all time. And that's Lil Wayne's Carter 3. We start off and we see a picture of a baby Wayne, baby Dwayne. Baby Wayne is, it was a picture he got from his mother. And it not only is a picture of him in a suit, looking very dapper, looking very crisp and focused. But what's very interesting is that they photoshopped Wayne's face tattoos onto the baby's picture. Now you thinking a baby picture that's strange for hip hop, and I say it's not. In reality, it's a very common practice. It's a good sign that you're dropping a good album. You can look at. I can think of several album covers that's had baby pictures on them. Of course, the most famous is Nirvana, although that baby wasn't anybody's. That wasn't like anybody's baby picture, but Nirvana had a baby on there. Nas had a baby on the Illmatic cover. Of course, Biggie's Ready to Die. All of these were baby pictures. And I think it's very synonymous. It's very interesting to mix two ideas, right? It's the contrast. It's the contradicting contrast that makes it so interesting. That makes it just something so crazy to watch. The thing that's weird is, okay, so you have a baby on the picture, and this baby is, and it's a gangsta album. That's such a crazy contrast. Like Nas's Illmatic, to see these rough city backdrop project buildings in the backdrop, and this picture of a kid superimposed onto that picture. Like, look at this little kid stuck in this small, stuck in this world, stuck in this trouble. Or Biggie's Ready to Die, and there's a picture of a baby. That's a contrast. Well, Wayne took that contrast to the next level by putting not only face tattoos on the baby, but teardrop tattoos. If you don't know, teardrop tattoos is a sign of gang affiliation and also a sign of murder, meaning that you've either been in prison or you've murdered or you killed somebody. That you're with it, basically. If I had to say anything, that's what that teardrop tattoos means, that you're with it. This is what you do. This is what you're about. This doesn't quite sell it to the fullest, because it's also deep, because the baby got on like a suit, so he looked like he's bossed up. It's a really interesting dynamic that we see. We even heard Lupe talk about this one time, where he was like, why you ready to die? You just a baby. Why those teardrops by your eyes? You just a baby. And he was referring to, of course, Ready to Die, and Lil Wayne's Carter 3. It's some real interesting stuff, real cool stuff. I'm sure you've seen the album cover. I ain't got to tell you, check out the album cover, but if you do get time to check out the album cover, check it out. It's completely wild, and it does cover one of the most iconic albums, one of the most sonically diverse albums to come out of Young Money camp, period. And that's saying a lot, because that's Drake and Nicki and all the Hot Boys and all whoever. I'm telling you, that's the most diverse project from his record with Jay-Z, Hey Mr. Carter. The samples are amazing, the beats are hitting, and it's so crazy to take these friendly samples. Like, it continues the sound. The picture kind of sets the tempo for the album, because it's this baby who you put all of this gangster graffiti on, right? And just for you to listen to the music and hear songs with such happy-go-lucky samples, but for you to be talking about some of the most crazy things on there, that is such a weird that's such a weird contrast, and I'm into it. I like it. It's an amazing album. I may go home and listen to it now, just talking about it. And you should go check it out too. You should stream it on any platforms you stream it on. I actually bought the album, so I'm just gonna go listen to it. But you do what you do, right? So that's the show. We're on episode, I didn't even tell you, this is episode 15 or 16. We're on episode 16, and man, we're cooking and booking. We're going and growing. We're getting them in the bucket, man. I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for tuning in, continuing to grow our channel, grow this podcast, man. Keep tuning in. I want to make sure, I want you to like, subscribe, rate this podcast on iTunes. I want you to, post and share it if it really brought you some value. And, post and share it and let all your friends know.